Huh, that's weird. This doesn't look like the picture.
Security system takes control of Squidward's house and begins attacking the city.
A visitor? It's not James Corden, is it? Oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know. The Sly and Sonic fan? Might I ask why you're here?
I'm here to collab on another video. Remember? We were planning on doing a review on one of the worst superhero movies of all time.
What?
That's right. I'm talking about the movie everyone hates. The movie that Roger Ebert bashed on television, and the movie that, dare I say, killed the superhero genre.
No. You're not talking about...
That's right. We are going to review Batman and Robin. We can also review Batman Forever so that it goes in order.
Oh, goodness me, look at the time. I should probably go feed my cat.
You don't have a cat.
I mean, I need to go get the DVDs if we want to review them, so give me a second.
Doesn't take this long to look out the movies. Dude, you really need to stop with that.
I know. Let's get this over with.
All anger in this video is for entertainment purposes only. This is our actual thoughts, but we don't act like this. Sometimes lol XD.
So to give some background on this movie, this was originally planned to be directed by Tim Burton once again, but after the reception of Batman Returns, WB had to let him go. By the way, this newspaper article right here is complete bullshit, and the TV broadcasting is so fucking painful because you can tell that parts of this was staged. Apparently, the original title was Batman Continues, and we would have seen the return of Michael Keaton as Batman. But this time, we would have also seen the return of Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent, but this time he would become Two-Face, with Rene Russo as Chase Meridian. It's what people were saying. Robin Williams as the Riddler, and Marlon Wayans as Robin. Now that is a sick cast. Sadly, this never happened as Keaton backed out due to the terrible script, and Russo, Williams, and Wayans were dropped even though Wayans was paid for costume fittings. What the—
On paper, Schumacher directing this movie would have been a great choice as he has made films such as Lost Boys and The Client. Originally, Joel wanted to do an adaptation on Year One and even went so far as to get Frank Miller on board to help, but this doesn't happen because Warner Brothers wanted to make it family friendly.
The bastards. And now, we jump to Batman Forever. Batman Forever is a family-friendly superhero action film starring Val Kilmer, Jim Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones, Nicole Kidman, and Chris O'Donnell. The plot of this film is that Batman is now facing Two-Face and Riddler, who plan on seeking revenge by using the Riddler's brain-sucking invention to hypnotize Gotham City, as Bruce Wayne is still dealing with the troubles with the memories of his parents' murders. He also meets a psychologist called Chase Meridian, and the two get into a relationship or something like that. Oh, and Robin's also here. Let's waste no time, and let's talk about the characters.
While Forever had a lot of missteps that especially stand out when compared to its predecessors, one of its strongest aspects in my opinion has always been Bruce Wayne. While a lot of people see this version of Bruce as a step down from Keaton's portrayal, this movie tells a compelling story of a man being forced by his guilt to pursue the life of a vigilante, despite his own internal desires to not only find love, but live the life of a normal man. Seeing Bruce struggle with his identity as Batman is something Schumacher nailed. I don't know, seeing a Batman finally get tired of his lonely life as Gotham's protector, after feeling completely at home in the shadows in the last two movies, just feels like natural progression. We would have had more of this if Warner Brothers hadn't cut integral scenes necessary to Bruce's character journey, but what else is new?
As someone who adores Batman 89 and Batman Returns, I kinda like the arc that Batman goes through. The idea of him being a killer and him having a small identity crisis is something that can be exceeded if done well. But it's a shame that, well, this was put in the deleted fucking scenes! Seriously, WB, you pick family-friendly nonsense over great storytelling. Jeez, and I thought Sony was the worst at this. Back to the review. Even though this take of Batman was bland, he is a pretty good take for a kid-friendly Batman. While I may be mixed on the costume, but that doesn't take away Val's performance. I wouldn't say Val Kilmer went all out because behind-the-scenes difficulties. He just gave a fine performance. If I'm gonna be honest, I kinda like it.
I'll give Schumacher this. I like how he kept Dick's usual backstory, and having Two-Face be the one to take his family's life gives the relationship much more urgency and meaning. It paves the way for what could very well be a solid revenge subplot. But my praise for this Robin ends here. 1. No offense to Chris O'Donnell, but this man does not look 17. Second, while Robin is usually not the most compliant sidekick in the world, this version of Dick leans too far to the bratty side. He's either always whining, being overly angsty, or causing trouble. I know Robin typically does all these things in other Batman media, but the movie forgot the most important part, making him likable. I do love how in the end he spares Two-Face, solidifying himself as a hero, but Batman smokes his ass anyways, so that moment is significantly lessened.
The idea for Robin in this film is kind of a mixed bag, as his arc of wanting to kill Two-Face is pretty interesting, as it ties into Batman's arc pretty well. The problem here is that I kinda find it hard to like and care for him. Yes, his family was killed, but he just comes off as an annoying dickhead who you just want to punch in the face, but on the bright side, Chris O'Donnell did a great job with the material he was given.
Of all the love interests Batman has in these movies, Chase has got to be the most polarizing. She has this weird, very unhealthy obsession with Batman in the first half of the film, for a reason that's never really explained, and we don't get to really know that much about her. Her main role in the story is clear to serve in Bruce's arc and become a typical damsel in the climax.
While she may be the damsel of distress of the movie, I really like the fact that she's played by Nicole Kidman, who is one of my favourite actresses. Go watch Paddington, she's phenomenal in that movie. She's really having fun with the part she's in. I remember not liking her at first, but I think her character is meh. While she may be horny for Bat Dick, who could blame her? She's pretty much the Mary Jane of this movie. Let's move on to... Oh no. Two-Face is terrible in this movie. I don't know what else to say. Please tell me Tommy Lee Jones was lying in that behind-the-scenes interview. Now, I'm not a big reader of the comics, and I know for a fact that making Harvey a comedic Joker wannabe jackass is quite literally the worst thing you can ever do. Unless you're in the 1960s. Pretty much all he does is dance around like he's won a game of Fortnite, and whenever he tries to say a comedic line, it comes across as annoying. So annoying in fact that it makes the most annoying characters lovable.
I love Two-Face as a villain. I think the tragedy behind his backstory makes him one of Bruce's more sympathetic antagonists, and his internal struggle whether to act on his light or dark half perfectly mirrors Bruce's struggle, and I find that really compelling. Which makes it all the more disappointing when I see this pathetic depiction of the character. What the hell happened here? Two-Face is usually a more stern, serious, intimidating character. He's not a jocular, loud, obnoxious 2-bit gangster who constantly flips his coin until it lands on the bad side. Tommy Lee Jones as Harvey sounds like a perfect casting choice, so what on earth was this performance? As easy as it would be to blame the actor, remember Schumacher directed and approved this abomination, so who's really at fault? Regardless of who it is, this will go down in history as the worst depiction of Two-Face and Batman media as a whole. Jim Carrey as Riddler is what makes this movie for me. Edward Nygma is a loud, egotistical narcissist who craves attention and acknowledgement as Gotham's ultimate genius. And Jim Carrey portrays that perfectly. Some say over the top, I say absolute perfection.
At first, I thought he was annoying like Two-Face, but that thankfully wasn't the case here. The Riddler in this movie is what I'd like to call the Jim Carrey of the movie. What I mean by this is that not only is he just Jim Carrey in the role, he is easily the best part of the movie. While he may be acting like the same character he played in his past movies, I think Carrey was great in this movie, and I will admit, I had some laughs at his scenes. Overall, I think that this movie is fine on its own, but as a sequel, it is god-awful. The story is pretty decent, the characters are fine, and some of the creative choices are questionable, to say the least. Also, there's no German expressionism. I can't understand why there are people out there saying that this is a sequel to Burton's movies, even though they are nothing alike. The only things that remained the same was Alfred and Gordon. Even though they turned Gordon into a dumbass in this movie. But, on the bright side, I kinda like what Schumacher did with Alfred. That's another plus that I forgot to mention, but god damn it, he's just so bloody good in this movie.
Personally, I think Batman Forever is a pretty good film.
Well, that was surprisingly decent.
Yeah, even though it had a terrible villain and a lot of great stuff left out, it was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I would give it a 3 out of 5 stars. I wonder who that can be.
Quick or Queen!
Yo, we've got trick-or-treaters at the door.
What? Halloween was literally a month ago.
Then who the hell? Oh no! It's Riddler and Two-Face from Batman Forever!
Did you really have to say that?
Shut up, it's in the script. Well, if it isn't Gamebox, and the Sly and Sonic fan, or just Sly for short, we would like to thank you for asking why we are here. But we didn't ask.
Shut up!
Now, without further ado, it's time to kill you. Oh yeah? You and what army? Oh, why our Teletubby army, of course. Well, would you look at that? An army of Teletubbies.
Well, we know the right thing to do.
Run! Well, looks like they want to play the hard way. Boys, you know what to do. We should be safe in here.
Wait, don't you have relatives in your home?
No. On to Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin is a superhero action comedy starring George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Uma Thurman, and Alicia Silverstone. The plot of this piece of shit has Batman and Robin fighting a new foe called Mr. Freeze, who goes around Gotham City turning shit into ice and spewing out ice puns that makes Adam Sandler's jokes in his comedy movies comedic gold. Later on, Poison Ivy and Bane team up for some reason and would later join forces with Mr. Freeze. But meanwhile, there is a conflict between Batman and Robin, causing them to fight and lose trust in each other. And, Alfred is sick, and Batgirl's here. That's pretty cool.
Bruce and Robin having conflict in a movie literally titled Batman and Robin was expected, and having it be Dick confronting Bruce because he doesn't feel appreciated or valued is a good direction to take. But alas, here comes execution. Just like in the last movie, Robin is an intolerable crybaby. However, in this movie, they also take the liberty of making Bruce unlikable as well. He comes off as cocky and dismissive of his adoptive son, which is a huge departure of the man we saw in the last 3 films. The argument between Bruce and Dick isn't that engaging when both of them are completely in the wrong.
Now, I love George Clooney, but I think that this role just wasn't right for him. Unless if it was the 1960s Batman. But him saying the iconic line is just, well, Clooney.
Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman.
Boo! You suck!
Boo!
Boo!
Get out of here with that.
As Sly said, he is unlikable and so goddamn cocky that it makes modern Sonic the most likable character in this world.
Hey, I like that character.
Batgirl is a very interesting character to talk about, but when I mean interesting, I of course mean interesting on how botched this character was. This is definitely my least favorite interpretation of Batgirl. My favorite one being the one from DC Superhero Girls 2019. Go check the show out, it's really freaking cool. If having the character being the granddaughter of Alfred wasn't an odd as fuck choice, then you should see her costume. Now, I've left the costumes out for Batman and Robin and Batman Forever because they have been done to death at this point. Originally, the character was meant to have a cowl, but they decided to go with the eyes mask because they just wanted to show off more Alicia Silverstone or something like that.
I'm not even going to ask why they made Barbara Alfred's granddaughter despite having Commissioner Gordon already established in this universe, but why the hell is she in this movie? We're supposed to be focusing on a movie all about Batman and Robin's relationship, so shoehorning in a really important member in the Bat family into an already bloated movie makes no sense. To be fair, in the few minutes we get of her as Batgirl, she kicks ass. But this should have been saved for a future movie. Well, maybe Schumacher had the foresight to know that a sequel wasn't happening. Just when I thought they couldn't top Forever's horrible Two-Face, I genuinely don't know what they were doing with Mr. Freeze. You already know about his horrible catalog of ice puns that have made him an internet sensation, but even aside from Arnold's interesting portrayal of the character, what version was Schumacher going for? In the comics, Mr. Freeze used to be a typical laid-back criminal who had fun with his illegal schemes. But in the animated series, they changed this shallow villain to a sympathetic, relatable victim turned monster. This Victor Freeze has the same tragic backstory of his animated series counterpart, but acts exactly like the version of him in the comics. This is a prime example of you can't have your cake and eat it too. Because of this mixture, the whole I need to save my wife goal just seems uncharacteristic with this hardened criminal who's having fun facing off against Batman. But that's the only compliment he's getting out of me.
I honestly don't know what to say about this waste of a character. His motivation is simply the most basic and generic superhero shit that even the worst comic book writers would write. Now, there are scenes that are kind of heartfelt when it comes to Freeze and his wife, but the sad thing is that most of the time he acts like he just won 60,000 Fortnite Battle Royales, and those ice puns, fuck me are they terrible. I have literally seen fan fictions with better puns than this, for fuck's sake, man. That's everything on this character for me. The only plus I'll give is the suit and his hideout. That's literally it.
Poison Ivy is the one part of this movie that is justifiably ridiculous. Poison Ivy has always been a campy, over-the-top antagonist, and here not only does the actress do a great job portraying her, but she's very accurate to her comic book roots. If only the material was better.
Now, I don't know much about the character of Poison Ivy, but I know for a fact that she doesn't act like Catwoman from Batman Returns. She talks like Selina and kind of acts like her, and She's just in this movie to flirt with Robin and win Freeze's heart for something which is just fucking stupid. No wonder Uma Thurman declined the role at first. We would go into detail about Bane, but dear God, this was a massive botch. His character has been reduced to a bumbling, dumb bodyguard. That's it. That's all I have to say. That's his fucking character. Nuff said.
In conclusion, Batman and Robin is one of, if not the worst superhero movie of all time. Story is everywhere, the characters can range from stupid to incredibly unlikable, and the changes from the comic make it either worse or pointless.
Well, that was complete torture. The characters suck, the story sucked, and the set design is so blech. Knock knock. Oh God, they're bursting through the door. Who's there?
Gamebox isn't home, but would you like to leave a message?
It's me, the Riddler. And me, Harvey Dent, otherwise known as Two-Face. Well, it looks like it's the end, even though I only have less than 10 videos on the channel, but we're gonna die early! Oh, I've been waiting a while for this now. Any last words? Well, if we don't get out of this alive, I would just like to say, I secretly write Son Alley fanfiction on Wattpad.com!
Well, I just wanted to say, I secretly like Teen Titans Go!
Wait, what? James Corden? James Corden. Nobody kills the freaks except me. Wow, James, you saved me. Why? You still need to give me money from that poker game back on the exact date being July 30th, 2020. Ah, well. If you want the money, then I would recommend speaking to this guy about it.
Wait, what?
I'm leaving. Good night. Oof.
Well, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, you disgusting human beings.